pledge, we have prayer led by Councilman Copeland and pledged by Councilman Williams.
All right, if you would like to join, please bow your heads. Gracious Father, we thank you for your goodness and your mercy. We thank you for your love that surpasses our understanding. Lord, we ask that as we have set aside this time to come together to discuss the business of the city that you have blessed, Father, we ask, oh God, that you give us the wisdom, insight, and understanding as we progress throughout this meeting, that you will guide our every word, that you will guide our every thought, and that whatever we do this evening, it will to accomplish the work that you have for the great city of Saginaw, Michigan. Father, we ask that you touch our police officers and firefighters and those who work in our city and the citizens of this great city, Lord. We ask that you touch those who are homeless, who are in need, that you will provide. Thank you for increase in our city. And as we continue to work and progress towards the vision that you have given our mayor as well as the city council, let us always give you glory, honor, and praise. In Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Member Lamar Sylvia.
Present.
Member Williams.
Present.
Councilmember Bench.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Balls.
Present.
Councilmember Scherzer.
Present.
Councilmember Ostash.
Present.
Councilmember Flores.
Present.
Councilmember Copeland.
Present.
Mayor Moore.
Present.
We have 9 members present, 0 absent, Mayor.
Okay, let's do a little housekeeping, young people. Before we get started, can you cut all those phones off? My guests in the audience, can I get you to cut your phone off too? I got a new phone, but I still need another one. I'd like to welcome you all to this public meeting, and the audience is asked to remain quiet and refrain from speaking, interrupting, or otherwise disrupting during the meeting. I will remind, once again, turn down, cut off all phones, council persons. To put it on vibrate. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple announcements this evening. One of them is that the City Waste Convenience Station will be open this Saturday, March 12th. It's open from 8 o'clock a.m. till 12 o'clock noon. And it's for city residents to drop off items such as building materials, and we take recycling of glass, plastic, and paper as well. Access to the station is on Holland Avenue, and you must provide proof of your residency. Also, a final reminder that our next meeting on March 21st, the meeting will begin at 6:30, our regular starting time, and that's due to Student Government Day being canceled. Mayor, that takes us over to public hearings.
The purpose of a public hearing is for the public to address the council as a whole, for the council to hear the information provided by the speaker, consideration regarding a specific action being requested. Speakers must limit their remarks to the subject of the public hearing. Please begin by stating your name and your position, such support, or if you support or oppose the subject matter of the public hearing. The first speaker will be allowed 10 minutes. Any representative thereafter will have 3 minutes. Public hearings are not a question and answer series. They are for information. Let me remind council, this is not a question or answer period. It is to state the purpose and what is going on, and that is all we need. We all okay with that, right? Okay. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, our hearing tonight is regarding the 2022-2023 Community Development Block Grant Program, Emergency Solutions Grant Program, Home Investment Partnership Program.
Good evening. My name is Leticia Trevino. I am the Block Grant Specialist. Good evening, Mayor Moore, Mayor Pro Tem Balls, City Council, City Manager, and staff. It is an honor for me to stand before you this evening on behalf of the Human Planning Commission to open the public hearing for the upcoming fiscal year 2023 entitlement funding for the CDBG, ESG, and home grants. The HPC also has additional requests they considered and made recommendations on for fiscal year 2021 CDBG CARES Act money. I was asked to share with you a brief summary as to how we reached the recommendations you have before you this evening. In August of 2021, CDBG staff held 2 informational sessions in Bliss Park. During the sessions, we explained the qualifications required for applying, and a brief overview was given of each grant. CDBG staff strongly encouraged all in attendance to visit HUD's website for more information or clarification on eligible activities for funding. Following the informational sessions, CDBG is mandated by HUD to hold 2 public hearings during each funding cycle. The first public hearing was held on September 15th, opening up the application process, and the applications were available on the website, the city's website, and CDBG accepted applications until close of business October 15th at 4 p.m. Staff reviewed each application and made the initial decision on who was eligible for funding. The qualified submissions were compiled and bound for review by the Human Planning Commission. The Human Planning Commission held 6 nights of interviews and deliberated on funding allocations on the very last night. As some of you know, the HPC allows for each applicant to make a 5-minute presentation on each of their applications, and then 10 minutes for the Human Planning Commission to ask questions of the nonprofits on each application. The Human Planning Commission prepared funding recommendations for the city manager, and the final recommendations are before you tonight for consideration. This evening, we open up the second public hearing, fulfilling our public comment requirement for HUD. You should have received in your packets a brief narrative summarizing the Human Planning Commission's decisions and the funding chart that maps the requests, the HPC recommendations, and the city manager's recommendations. On behalf of the Human Planning Commission, I would like to thank the city council members that attended the evening interviews. Whether you stopped in for one night or were in attendance for every night, the support was noted and greatly appreciated by the entire commission. I thank you for your time and attention this evening.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this matter? Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this matter? Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this matter? I need a motion to close.
So moved. Support.
It's been moved and supported. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we are now at public input. Would you like to read the rules for public
Oh,
input?
I'm sorry.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I got a cold.
I'll help you out.
Let's go. Thank you. Thank you.
You're
It's
welcome.
always good to have good people around you. We welcome all those who signed up to address the council tonight. Please speak slowly and clearly so we don't miss what you're saying. You will be called to the podium by the clerk in time for 3 minutes. Remember, please get what you have to say in your 3 minutes. We will not be disrespectful. We will remain calm, no booing, no clapping. Madam Clerk.
Our first speaker tonight is Dorothy Wicker.
Good evening. I'm Minister Dorothy Wicker. The name of our ministry is Christian Marriage Enrichment. We have an office, not a church. I'm going to talk some about things that we do in our office. Christian counseling, counseling that draws many closer to God. We believe without God, it's harder to work through issues in life. God must be in the center of all relationships for it to prosper. We do public speaking, conferences, keynote speakers that address the purpose of providing encouragement, inspiration, motivation for a variety of relationships. Also, life coaches, providing people with skills and tools to live more prosperous, driven life, such as coping skills, self-reflection. We try to give tools to navigate through life with faith and hope. As a marriage facilitator, we provide couples ways to keep their love and marriage above the obstacles of life. We teach on how to forgive. We work with engaged couples on what to expect in marriage, also trust issues in relationships. We work with blended families, and we teach on the covenant commitment in marriage. We believe the marriage commitment must be in our society as a sacred foundation established by God, in which men and women can experience the real sense of spiritual, emotional, and physical intimacy by following God's plan and design to becoming one. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next speaker tonight is Bradford Wickard.
Good evening to everyone, Mayor, everyone on the council. Good evening. My name is Minister Bradford Wickard. I and my wife are the founders of the Christian Marriage Enrichment Ministry Incorporation. Our vision is to help families realize God's plan for life and for all who marry to have a successful and satisfying marriage, and to have a mission to God, each other, family, church, and community. Our goal is to have our own facilities to house our office, a classroom, conference room to be rented out for others to conduct business meetings, and an area for family activities, baby showers, birthday celebrations, anniversaries, and wedding receptions, etc. We do have a website, ChristianMarriageEnrichment.com. Other ways that we do counseling is in person at our office, Zoom, FaceTime, and by phone. We have done some videos on different subjects that we will be uploading soon on YouTube, Facebook, TikTok. We will also be doing podcasts in the near future. A little about my wife and I. We have 3 adult children, 9 grands, and this coming July, we will be married for 50 years. So you see, we are very serious about wanting people to stay married till death do them part. And I'm just going to do a brief reading on what we believe. We believe God created marriage. We believe marriage was the first precept designed by God. We know the Bible teaches that the covenant of marriage is sacred and intended to be lifelong. God's plan for marriage is legally binding public declaration of commitment, by example of a wedding, and a private consummation between man and one woman, never between the same sex. We know, according to the Bible, that God gives a woman to a man and a man to a woman as husband and wife, and they are to join one to another as God's unique and personal provider to help meet their common marital needs. We believe God created marriage for the purpose of couples glorifying God as one flesh, raising children to worship God, and enjoying sexual pleasure as husband and wife. We believe God uses marriages to enhance a man and a woman into becoming the image of Jesus Christ. Just as the Trinity reflects equal worth with differing roles, we believe man and woman are equal partners in marriage. The roles are different but equally important. In conclusion, we believe the marriage commitment to be a sacred foundation established by God in which men and women can experience the real sense of spiritual, emotional, and physical intimacy by following God's plan and design. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Mark Pasalle.
Good evening, council members, honorable mayor, mayor pro tem, city manager, city attorney. You have a packet of 5 pictures that I've provided to show you the issue that me and my neighbors are dealing with. I have 20 more just as bad. I am sorry some of the pics didn't show up or didn't come out 100%, but they show the problem. I contacted all the members on council. I've got replies back from 3, and I thank you. If I missed any, I thank you. I started with animal control to try to get this man to stop what he was doing. They told us to get video. I spent a month and a half getting video of this man bringing his dog to this location, letting it defecate and walking away. I dropped it off. In a minute and a half, they called me back. Not our problem, take it to the city. Here I am. I called a friend, a superman, a superintendent, Mr. Carwatt. Wasn't his department, wasn't his problem. He put me in charge, and put me in contact with code enforcement. Mr. Martin posted, sent some letters, and the man has since changed his MO temporarily. They even contacted Chief Ruth for any assistance or ideas. What I need council to do is put a defecation law or ordinance on the books to make people clean up after their animals. We have a leash law for a reason. We should have a poo law for a reason. This should not happen to anybody. I have 20 more pictures that are just as disgusting as what you're going to look at. I thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Dr. Fenobia Dallas.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Fenobia Dallas, and my address is 2 Shelley Court. I wish to address the council on the proposed rezoning of property between North Washington, Farwell, Roosevelt Austin, and North 10th Street from mixed-use R2, two-family residential, to R01, restricted office, and B2, general business, to M1, light industrial. I am a professor of rhetoric and professional writing at Saginaw Valley State University, where some of my research focuses on African-American neighborhoods and community and their related public policy initiatives. I'm also the chair of the City Planning Commission. The area proposed for rezoning encompasses a section of the city that has been designated as the Green Reserve Opportunity Area, as noted in the City of Saginaw Master Plan 2011. This designation was applied in 2009 and effectively halted any type of development in the area. Thus, as homes were vacated, no replacements or renovations were done because financial lenders would not support such activities due to growth restrictions. Now, as the master plan is undergoing an update, the city is reviewing the reserve to consider other possible uses for this land. The Planning Commission, at its February 22nd, 2022 meeting, voted on the proposed rezoning of property. The vote was 6-1 in favor of the rezoning. I was the lone negative vote. I spoke of the negative impact on citizens in the area as the reason for my vote. I appear here before you to offer some context to my vote and offer another option to the proposed use of this land. In the handout provided to you, pages 75 through 78 are from the 2011 master plan. Of the 346 acres in the reserve, 250 acres, or 70%, are slated for no development because much of the land was abandoned and is now vacant. Much of this property was placed in the Saginaw County Land Bank. The master plan also noted that any future industrial development proposals for this area would be appropriate for lands already zoned for industrial purposes. The master plan also noted that by acknowledging how prior planning decisions have affected this area, it is important to not recommend displacement of residents. The next 2 pages in your handout are a geographical and a location map of the proposed rezoning of property area. While it has been noted that there are few residences in the area is highly concentrated with facilities that provide support to community stability, including many churches, and the First Ward Community Center. These facilities, along with residents in the area, would be susceptible to possible noise, air, water, and other environmental pollution from light manufacturing processes. Finally, I propose for you an option for the proposed use of this land. The next 3 pages are from the Chapter 5 of the Master Plan, Future Land Use. The Green Reserve Opportunity Area and Light Industry Warehouse. Thank you.
I motion to extend your time for 45 seconds.
Second.
Move to second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Thank you. Finally, I provide for you an option for the proposed use of this land. The next 3 pages are from Chapter 5 of the Master Plan, Future Land Use. The Green Reserve Opportunity Area and the Light Industry Warehouse are under discussion. What I would like for you to consider in your proposed rezoning of property vote is the Urban Venture Area. This is a land use category that can define a differently focused Saginaw. The innovative uses discussed challenges us to think beyond what we know or are comfortable with. Here's an opportunity to consider how mixed-use residences, small businesses, community gardens, art studios, and parks can coexist and benefit this area. I thank you for allowing me to speak before you this evening.
Thank you.
And our final speaker tonight is Marcus Muhammad. Marcus Muhammad must not be here. Mayor, that takes us to remarks of council.
Council, you also have 3 minutes to speak. Please speak clearly. State your minutes. You have 3 minutes. We will begin tonight with Councilwoman Bench.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Good evening, everyone. First, I'd like to start by thanking our public speakers for being here tonight and participating. And Mr. Pasalle, we did receive I know I was one of the ones who received your email, and I am sorry that you are dealing with the disgusting situation. So I know that staff is aware, and I think we'll have to kind of rely upon them to see what resolution we can come to, but I certainly understand and see that there's a need. I think there's just maybe an enforcement issue with how to go about, like you had to videotape this, incident occurring, so. But I think that there's certainly an understanding and an empathy on our part for what you're dealing with.
I appreciate that.
And other than that, I really just want to thank our block grant staff and our Human Planning Commission for the hard work that they've put into making these recommendations and listening to the presentations from all of our wonderful organizations. And I'd just like to thank all of those organizations who have applied and who are out there providing services to our community. Those are a lot of vital services that get funded through block grants, and it's important work that's being done. So it's a very important responsibility for our Human Planning Commission to have, and we just appreciate the work that goes into that. Dr. Dallas, thank you for being here, and also thank you for your service to the community. I think I would need to hear more from staff as well to elaborate a little bit, or I'd like some information from staff maybe at a later point on these proposed changes, but other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Scherzer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I too want to say thank you to our public speakers for coming out tonight and for expressing either something positive or concern that we need to be aware of and hopefully can come to a resolution. I also look forward to our MML conference next week. And I just want to clarify to the mayor, so she'd be proud, I am going to graduate. So I will be walking across the stage in my mind from the Elected Officials Academy, and I'm 75% way through level 2. So looking forward to being with my fellow council members, but also receiving my recognition since COVID happened. And then I just want to dedicate, this is March, and that is Women's History Month. So I definitely want to dedicate this council meeting, but also any future council meetings, to women everywhere, to strong, brilliant, intelligent, remarkable, unstoppable women everywhere. Whether you work here at the city, or you work in the city, or you know somebody, and definitely, or I should say especially to the women at this table. We have had tremendous women before us. We are tremendous women at this table, and we will have future tremendous women joining this table. So to all women everywhere, to all women everywhere, may you know one, may you love one, and may you be one. That's all I have.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilman Ostash.
Thank you, Mayor, and welcome to everybody who has decided to join us in the chamber tonight and again watching from home. Thank you to all of our public speakers for taking the time to come out and talk to the council. I do appreciate that. I'm other things you could be doing on a Monday night, but you chose to come out and talk to us, and so we heard you and thank you. Mark, I was one of the council members that did get back with you and responded. I'm sorry I went to the wrong email address, so I kind of missed that in the meeting there, but we did correspond. I did do some more research and I followed up with the county, so again, we'll refer back to our staff. They have that documentation and hopefully they can share that with you as well. And just a few other things I want to talk about tonight. I do want to express my thoughts and prayers to everybody that's out there with what's going on in Ukraine right now. I did happen to meet a local Saginaw resident that has family that were just over the border where the invasion took place. And I myself am a third-generation Ukrainian here living in the city of Saginaw. My grandfather migrated through Canada. So I just want to let you know that my thoughts and prayers are with you, and if you have any family members over there, because it's just not a very good situation. So hopefully there will be a good outcome. I'm going to be touring the Youth Development Corporation this Wednesday at 11 a.m. So if any of my other council members, up to 3, would like to join, just let me know and get a hold of me. I'm looking forward to that tour of the facility. And also I've been attending quite a few of the front porch roll calls that our police department has been doing. There's a lot of good engagement there with our citizens and our residents. So I applaud our police department for these efforts that they're doing, and they are looking for locations. So if anybody's listening right now, get a hold of our chief or our city staff for future locations for the front porch roll call. There was an announcement too, there are more COVID tests, so everybody's able to get 4 more. I did happen to get a hold of my insurance company, and I think some are participating where you can actually do 8 rapid testing kits, so you might want to check with the insurance company on that. And there was some information that came out recently too with it's called Growing Michigan Business Grant Program. There's a $409 million that's available to businesses, and so if you're interested in something like that, please get a hold of our city staff or get a hold of me, and I'll help get you some more information on that. This was something that was just released since our last council meeting. And Mayor, that's all I have. Thank you.
Next, we have Councilman Flores.
Thank you, Mayor. Hello, Saginaw. Yeah, thank you so much to Mark Pasalle. We had exchanged emails as well, and I look forward to seeing the conclusion of your hard-fought effort to make sure that the ordinances that we have on book are enforced. And we can talk throughout the week if you'd like to. I invite you to do that. To the Wickers, thank you so much for bringing up the importance of marriage. I know how hard it can be. I've never been married myself, but I could only imagine. I do disagree that it is between a man and a woman, but I think it's important that people are dedicated to one another. And I look forward to looking at your proposal. And then also to Dr. Dallas, I watched the 222 Planning Commission session, and I look forward to revisiting that later on in the agenda. Also, as Councilman Ostash had stated, I took a test earlier today. It was something that came in the mail. If anybody else would like a test, please call 1-800-232-0233 or go to www.covidtest.gov. There's nothing quite like going in a group of people when you know that you're COVID negative and being able to tell people that you tested yourself. I think that's the one step that we missed as a country early on to be able to keep each other safe. So use that information correctly. And then outside of that, I don't have anything other than, yeah, happy Women's Month. I think it's a great thing. We have some very strong women in staff and on council. Our mayor is amazing, and it's great to be with everybody here on council. That's of both genders. That's it.
Next we have Councilman Copeland.
Good evening, everyone. Happy Women's History Month. I would like to dedicate my comments this evening in the memory of Portia Maxine Chandler Bishop. who is a woman that I will love forever, of her tenacity and her dedication to the Lord and to her community. I do want to once again thank everyone for their comments, for our public comments this evening. I'll never get tired of saying it. I always enjoy seeing the house full, to seeing the seats filled with people coming to our meetings. I do want to share the Great Lakes Bay Hispanic Leadership Institute are currently taking applications. The application will close on April 10th. If you are interested in learning about the Hispanic history of the Saginaw, the Great Lakes Bay region, they have a leadership class. You can contact Monica Reyes regarding that. Also, Pit and Balcony will be starting another presentation at another show, the Greek Mythology Olympia Ganza, from March 25th through April 3rd. And the one thing I love about this city is just the collaborations, the community. If you haven't been seeing what the art department, well, I don't want to say the art department, this ain't school, but if you see what the art community is doing here in the city of Saginaw, on April 2nd, Pit and Balcony, the Saginaw Bay Symphony Orchestra, and the SVSU Theater and Choir will be performing a play called Amadeus on April 2nd. I encourage you, I think it's going to be a great opportunity just to see the arts in display in our city of Saginaw. So that's just something fun. There's always something going on in the city of Saginaw. Also, as I close out my time this evening, I do want to end just with the words of a strong woman, Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Councilwoman Sylvia.
Good evening, everyone. So glad that you all chose to come to City Council this evening. Thank you so very much and being interested in your city and what your city leaders are doing. Hopefully, we're doing a good job. If I'm not, I want to do better, so just let me know. I'd like to first of all say thank you to public speakers this evening. To Mr. and Mrs., to Minister Wicker and Wicker. I am very familiar with their marriage enrichment. Thank you for bringing that to the attention of council today. Mr. Pasalle, I did not receive an email from you, but I look forward to being in contact with you because I know, just say I know the feeling. Put it like that, and it's not good. Dr. Dallas, I'm also very concerned about what you spoke about in regards to the ordinance. I too have a few questions and hope I can get some answers to that, the change in the map and everything in regards to that. A lot of stuff I don't understand. I've been here a year, but I am learning, and I know that I'm not in agreement with that as it stands right now. In regards to Women's History Month, I'd like to say shout out to Queen Mother of Saginaw, Queen Tutu, which is my mother, Mrs. Patricia Lamar. Worked for the city for many, many years, and if not many people that don't know her, but she's a historian in regards to Black history of the Bible, and I just want to shout out to her, and also the late Mrs. Stitt. And if you don't, many people have heard of her and all the work she's done in the city of Saginaw. Thank you very much.
Next, we have Councilman Williams.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I concur with my peers that have already spoken, and I have no further comments today.
Next, we have Mayor Pro Tem Balls.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm happy that you, the citizens of the city of Saginaw and Bridgeport, come here to express your concerns, because this is the place where the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So if you got any problems, hopefully the buck stops right here. Ms. Dallas, I hope that, it's kind of strange that you're having those issues with them, and I hope that we can come to some conclusion to make everybody happy. For the chairman of our committee to come here and speak, and didn't agree with the rest of the committee is, something. The committees that we have are part of the wheel that makes this vehicle, the city of Saginaw, move, and we need to be together on these different things because the city is changing. a lot. You know, we don't have that many houses. So the federal government even say we don't even have enough houses in the city of Saginaw. You know, so we need to do something about getting our homes back built here in the city of Saginaw. So I hope that maybe we can get this situation ironed out and favorable for the city of Saginaw. I really don't have a lot to express this evening, but I too would like to express the fact that if it wasn't for women, I hate to think where we would be, especially during the struggle of slavery and issues like that, where the women took the brunt of a lot of things, you know, and you know, so we're here today. I stayed right behind Mrs. Wicks. I grew up right behind her as a kid. And man, she was a dynamite lady in the city of Saginaw. I went to the Civitan Community Center where she was at. I played. They didn't allow me to, and I thank God for that, to be a high stepper. My sister was a high stepper. I think Brenda was a high stepper too, but I can tell you one thing, I was always in there looking at the girls. But, you know, and then Ms. Wicks, I can remember days when she chased me away from her house too, because she was having the girls come over, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and stuff like that, and I'd jump over the fence and she'd send me right on back home. But she was a strong, strong lady in our community, and I thank God for her. Thank you.
Last but not least, is me. Good evening, everyone. You know, I've been at the governor's mansion, and y'all know I've been at the governor's mansion telling her, it's a new season, it's a new day. Fresh anointing is coming our way. The spirit of power and prosperity. It's a new season, and it's coming for Saginaw. Y'all got to walk with me on this one. You really have to walk with me. If we're not dreaming, we're not even existing. I got 3 minutes up already.
Forgive me, I forgot to reset it after Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm getting ready to say, oh my God.
Forgive me. Go ahead, Mayor.
So, oh my God.
All the time you want now.
No, so, you know what? All of my public speakers who came in today, please be assured, we are so thankful that you come. It may not seem that we can fix everything, but we're working. We're working on trying to make it better. And for my husband and wife team, congratulations, 50 years. My dad had to live, my mom and dad might have got that in too. But congratulations. One of the things that I guess I want to see all of us do, you know, year before last, my theme was love. And I said what the world needs now is love, sweet love. I expanded it this year. And so if I can get some dreamers to dream with me, do you know what Saginaw would be like? Saginaw would be off the chisel. So I can only speak for my fellow women and gentlemen that's up here with me. We are working on the building, y'all. And we're trying to get the foundation right this time. We don't want to just put a house up and let it blow. So that means in order for a house to grow and a city to grow, you got to have a foundation. Right. And we're working on the foundation. You know, I said in July, we done tried everything else, so we're going to try God. I put this city in prayer. Everybody think I'm crazy, but I know that prayer changes things. And I also know that if you believe it, you shall receive it. Thank you so much. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we are now at the reports from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor. So I do want to first thank the Human Planning Commission and the staff for their dedicated work that they've put together for the last several months, and the continuing work. A lot of the members of that committee have been for several terms, and also thank council and the staff for putting together the changes to that group so that we could get greater participation. I think we had trouble filling a lot of those spots before, and I think we do have more members now, so we appreciate that from the community and from council. An update on the electric vehicle charging stations. So the two new chargers at 100 North Hamilton Street parking ramp are now active, and those are the second of the 4 locations to be activated. The first was 113 South Hamilton, which is the sign parking lot, or the sign museum parking lot in Old Town. The other 2 locations will be downtown and should be active this summer, if not sooner. One location is at the SVRC parking lot, and the other one is the parking lot that will be constructed. So we have to wait for that construction to be completed. A side note on that lot, we did meet with engineering and public services, and I met with Tom Mudd a few weeks ago on the location of the park sign. And I'm not sure if everyone recalls, but we did take the sign, the old sign, down from that parking ramp to preserve it. And Mr. Mudd worked with Barrett Sign to restore that, put neon on it. So he worked on the placement for that. And I said we did get a nice comment from Mr. Mudd. He said that Saginaw is the only city that he knows of in Michigan that's preserving that type of history. So that was good to hear from him. But back to the charging project. So Yolanda Jones with Phil Carwatt, Beth London, Travis Hare, and Joe Nugent in Public Services have been working on this project for a long time. So they've been working with consumers and the other vendors. It's been a long process. So I want to thank them for their hard work on that as well. And if you recall, this project has been profiled in the Detroit News and was also picked up nationally by the Associated Press. And we have received comments just from the 2 that we had active before. I've received emails from people who are from out of the area that have come to Old Town just because of those charging stations are there. And that was our goal, to bring people into Saginaw. And Councilman Ostash may be able to tell you, but there are a lot of voids in the charging, especially in northern Michigan. So hopefully we can fill a need and also bring people downtown and Old Town to Saginaw. And finally, this Thursday, March 10th, at the Saginaw Police Department lobby, they're going to be celebrating the retirement of Canine Debo and the promotion of his partner and handler, Officer Adams, to Sergeant. So congratulations to Officer Adams, and thank you to Canine Debo for his service. He's served the Saginaw community for over 5 years. And I say the Saginaw community rather than just the city of Saginaw, because if you know, the canines work throughout Saginaw County, and they've been involved in a number of different cases, and from criminal cases to helping find small lost children. So we really thank the handlers. That's kind of a 24-hour job, because those dogs do go home with them and they live with them. I assume Debo will be retiring with that family, so it's a lifetime commitment, and thanks to Debo for his work. And I think you all did see that we do have a new canine. I think it was on the last meeting, or the meeting before, will be in training. And Madam Mayor, that concludes the management update.
Do you have any questions for the city manager?
Mayor Moore, I do have a question for the manager.
I didn't hear you.
I said, Mayor Moore, I do have a question for the manager.
Speak.
All right. When regards to, I just want to know, is there any updates from the firm regarding where we are? Any objectives? I know we're meeting, the team is meeting on this Wednesday. Is that, will something come out after that meeting?
So that first meeting is, I think, a big part of that will be a housekeeping meeting, just to set what the committee's goals are and what they'll be doing. I think they do have a second meeting set up already for the 23rd. We did contact them about the revenue loss calculation, and Plant Moran is working on that part. If you remember from the presentation, they're a subcontractor, and I think they recently signed, or should have signed, the subcontractor agreement. They did work on that with us previously prior to the rule change, so hopefully that should be coming pretty quickly, because there wasn't that much change in the final rules regarding that calculation. There were a few changes, but they should be able to update that. We did, Ms. Jones and Lori Brown have been working on projects for the city, ones that we would like to submit for ARPA. So we did submit 32 city projects to Guidehouse to review to make sure they're ARPA eligible, what category do they fit into, do they align with city council goals and objectives and what was put together. So they're working through that, and I don't expect all of those will be funded by council because that's a lot of projects, but that will be what we draw from to bring back, either whether it's through a revenue loss category or if it's just ARPA eligible anyway.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
In regards to the charging stations, I'm just wondering how you pick the area to put those, and are there any other areas in the city of Saginaw that are slated to possibly have charging stations?
We don't have any other charging stations that we're planning to place at this time. Part of the funding for the charging stations was from the DDA. So the DDA paid for a portion of the charging stations with their millage. So the locations, we worked with them on placing them within the DDA district to help draw people into the areas where we have businesses downtown and Old Town.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Just a comment, Mayor.
Councilman.
Yep, just a comment, Mayor. Because you brought up my name earlier in the electric charging part of your update for us, and I do own, we have 2 electric vehicles now. Councilwoman, it is a situation where they'll actually seek out through their apps and stuff, and then when you're there charging for a half hour or so, they grab dinner, and they do bring local money into the city. So I was excited when we did bring this project up. Yep, that's all I have.
Thank you.
Councilman Flores.
Thank you. Was it 23 different ARPA proposals that were sent to Guidehouse?
32.
32? Got the numbers mixed up. Do we have the total cost for their...
For those projects?
For those projects, for the analysis for those?
Yeah, I think it's somewhere around $30 million.
No, for the work by the Guidehouse. So we submitted that to them, correct? And they work in on an hourly basis. Do we have a total amount?
Oh, you mean how much does it cost to have them review that?
Yeah.
No, I don't think we have any billing from them for that.
When would we be able to get a?
I'm not sure when we haven't received any invoices from them. I'm not sure how frequently they bill. I would guess they do progress billings, but they haven't done too much yet, so we don't have any billings.
So probably not until next quarter, you would think?
Most likely.
Yeah.
Okay. And then also, is the electronic charging stations, is that kind of are we going in stages where we're going to continue to look at other spots that people can install those?
So I don't remember when we did get those. I can't remember. It's been quite a while, but the largest form of funding for that project was from a grant from Consumers Energy. So if we were able to receive another grant, I think that would probably be the best way for us to do that.
We actually received 2 grants, one from Consumers Energy and one from Eagle. So we've had to vet out that we've spent all the money and received the money back for it to be implemented. So if we get another grant, then we most certainly would look to put it in different locations.
Great. And we would ask the grants from the same agencies that we got them from before?
Yes, definitely.
Consumers had a pretty big push when we got this grant because they were trying to expand the charging capabilities across the state. And this area was identified as an area that didn't have a lot of options. So that really helped us in getting that grant. So we'll have, I believe it's 8 stations in 4 locations available now, but definitely if there's an opportunity, we'll apply for more grants for that.
Great. And then last, does Debo going into retirement have any type of pension or, and in all seriousness, any type of medical bills that he may be covered by the city? He was injured and stabbed in the head during active duty.
Well, I think because of when he was put into service, he's funded by the association still, is that correct, Chief?
That's correct.
So they cover his unfunded liabilities, his retiree health care. So he'll be taken care of. I think our future Canines, we may have a different arrangement where we do have to pick up some of those. Chief and the Canine unit will continue to work on that because they're making some changes with fundraising for the Saginaw Valley Canine Association. But if it's those events are coming up, and any council members who are interested in working at those, I know they always need help. They do a lot of fundraising at any kind of animal event you can think of. That organization's usually there to raise money, so that helps. And they do, I believe they have dogs in other agencies in the county as well. Is that right, Chief? Right. So they are funding other agencies as well.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions?
Yes. You said that you, Yolanda, and who else got together with these other 32 projects that you would like to see?
So those projects are from every department in the city.
Okay.
So we asked each department to put together projects, and as you can imagine, there were a lot more than 32 projects, but we tried to make sure, actually Yolanda and Jones and Lori Brown and their team working with the ARPA stuff first identified what they believe is ARPA eligible. So each department came up with those, it went to that group, and then they brought them to me, and some things we didn't include or we did put in, because if you can imagine when you ask departments if they have projects, you're going to get hundreds of millions of dollars worth of projects. So that's kind of the process that we went through.
Okay, but ultimately the city council is going to approve those projects. So I think that it would be nice if we knew what those projects was instead of taking them to the committee and then let them make a decision. Then they bring it back to us, and we haven't even seen them yet. So I think
they won't make a decision.
Well, they're gonna make suggestions.
No, the projects that are city projects, primarily, we sent those to Guidehouse to make sure that they align with the grant rules and regulations. Then those will come back to me, and I'll bring those to council, whichever ones that we think we would be able to fund. And some of them might not be able to, if we look at the bidding and the availability of materials, some of them maybe we can't even do, but we would bring all of those back to council.
Okay. Can we get a look at them before they go to the lighthouse, please?
Guidehouse?
Guidehouse, whatever house it is, I like to take a look at them before they go.
Yeah, sure. I mean, if you want to come in, we can.
I'm just saying, we like to take a look at them. I mean, because we did get together and put all these pots together where we wanted the money to go. You know, so it would be nice if we knew what pots that the city wanted them to go into, because y'all could have made those suggestions when we was doing that exercise at the Temple Theater. We would have known about it then.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
I had one last one after the Mayor Pro Tem. With these considerations going to Guidehouse, would they be kind of first in line for the ARPA funds, or had you put any other proposals over to them for recommendation that had been submitted to council?
No. Okay. No, I think for other this is where I think we need to get I think the first thing is what is allocated to, how do you want to allocate money out? How much do you want to grant? How much is to revenue loss? So I think we go back to that, something that Dr. Scorsoni talked about, a main resolution that says, hey, we have $52 million, X number of dollars we're going to reserve for revenue loss. And then we want to spend X number of dollars on city projects. And then the rest of the money we want to grant out to organizations. So I think that's something that we need before we really can say how much are we going to put into these projects and how much are we going to grant out. So the biggest thing to get, I think, is that revenue loss calculation so that you can see what it is for 1 year and then estimate, okay, what do you think it's gonna be for the entire grant period? So you have that number, and then you can build off from there. So hopefully we can get that by the next meeting.
So to be clear, we have over 40 proposals from non-profit organizations that have came in through the city since, I think, January of this year. They have not been submitted for approval to Guidehouse yet.
No, and I think they're likely will have to resubmit because those proposals are in varied formats, widely differing formats. And I think to be able to judge and score them and review them, you're gonna need them to be in the same format. And I know I talked to Councilman Lamar Sylvia about that. We've talked about that. So that will be probably part of this process. We do want to have a portal where we're asking specific questions so that the potential grantee can put in the responses to each question that's the same question that everyone else is asking. So that's one of the things we did ask Guidehouse to do too, was come up with that portal. And we'd like to have it online for convenience, but we could have a paper option as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because the final rules came out after people had been submitting that they need additional guidance. And if that format's going to be provided by Guidehouse, I think it's important to recontact those individuals who had submitted things to the city server or email and say that we need to have you reapply. Yep. And that may not be something that they know yet, but hopefully we can get out there in terms of information.
Yep, we were kind of thinking of those proposals as being letters of interest in funding, and we would recontact everyone and say, I think they have received notification that we have their proposal. If we have received it, if they haven't, just make sure they contact us again. And then once we have that application in place, we'll contact them again and tell them how to apply formally.
That makes sense. I've been looking for a running list of individuals that have been proposing since the beginning, and I know that city staff has kind of been doing a great job of putting things together in an Excel sheet, but having a running list, making sure that we have everybody that's submitted to the city server, kind of giving them a certificate saying that they got their proposal submitted to the city, that will give a lot of people in the public comfort knowing that we're taking their proposals under consideration.
Any more questions? I'd like to thank you, City Manager. Council persons. Let me say this, and I guess I should have been said it. A lot of the ARPA stuff and the dollars that we're dealing with is who don't want to be in trouble is us. So I don't want anybody to think that we're going to shortchange anybody, not include you. Because day one, when we talked about sitting in just a letter of interest, I knew then that everybody had to be contacted. I think I spoke to Vicky and the city manager and the team and told them that we need to send a letter out to everybody, whether you are eligible or not. We need to let you know what's going on. So I want to be real transparent right now. The majority of this money that we get, once we take care of the city, then we're going to take care of the city. And the city is going to see a big change. And it's only if we don't fight. Some cities have given back that money, and I'm glad that our city manager decided, no, we're going to do the right thing. So I just wanted to say that. So thanks so much, Tim. I'm sorry, Mr. Morales. Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we are now at the consent agenda.
The agenda has been available at City Hall and on the city webpage and on SGTV channel 191. I need a motion to approve the agenda, leaving room for exceptions.
So moved.
It's been moved in second. Is there any exceptions?
Yes.
Yes.
2, 4, and 8.
4 and 8.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any more? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Item number 2 is to approve the professional services agreement with Attorney Adam Flory of Smith Bovell PC. That was Member Lamar Sylvia.
I guess it's more or less for understanding, and it's like hiring out different attorneys. The attorneys that we use, can we not use them for this or no?
Well, it's a bit of a different service, and so we have myself serving in the role of city attorney. We have another contract with another firm for city prosecutor services. We have various firms who represent the city in litigation against the city. This particular service relates to our own city ordinances, and when we have a certain city ordinances set up an appeal process, if someone, denied a business license or the business license is revoked, or if they get noticed for junk vehicles, things of that nature. It's an administrative hearing outside of court. It used to be that the city manager would designate a staff member to serve in those roles. That's been problematic in the past, and we've been outsourcing this to various attorneys for a number of years. We lost one of our attorneys on the roster for that. That individual is now serving in the Midland court system. So we're just looking to increase our roster for when these sort of hearings do come up. We have individuals who are readily available to serve in that role.
Okay, thank you very much. Move to approve.
Support.
It's been moved in support. Any more discussion?
Yeah, real quick. If we have a good example of Mr. Pasalle being here, would he be able to contact the attorney according to the ordinance that he thought would be not enforced, or would he be able to make a complaint to this attorney's office?
No, that wouldn't be the role of this attorney. Most ordinances, when it comes to violations, if it's a civil infraction or if it's a misdemeanor, that would go through the city prosecutor's office. Mm-hmm. This is really with regard to individuals who receive notice about a particular type of violation. Those individuals who receive those notices, in some cases, have a right to appeal that before an administrative hearing officer. That particular situation does not apply to Mr. Pasalle's.
So it would be more about the individual or individuals that Mr. Purcell's would be going after.
Well, and again, in that particular circumstance, there would be no mechanism. If we had a city ordinance that related to Mr. Pasalle's situation, that would likely be a civil infraction handled through the city or the city prosecutor's office.
Okay.
There is no administrative hearing process per se relating to his circumstances.
All right, thank you.
No other questions?
Just a point of clarification. For the city attorney, yeah, thank you. I just got a comment or question for the attorney.
Okay.
Kind of, it just sounds like a little confusion, and I kind of know this process. So as an example, our dangerous building ordinance could go through this process. If there was something that was filed, there would be a hearing manager that would be appointed that is pretty much a non-bias and would hear that through the whole process. So I guess that's what we're talking about here. And Amy, I guess that's a comment and a question where it's just that person can be a part of even like our business licenses and stuff.
Yeah,
it's very non-biased, and they sit and
these
listen to both sides.
situations happen very rarely.
Yeah.
And in fact, we haven't had a situation since prior to the pandemic in which an administrative hearing has to be held. The most frequent situations I see these happen, because I represent the city in the course of these administrative hearings, is with regard to junk vehicles or business licenses. Those are the two most common.
Thank you.
No more questions. Let's call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Yeah, I believe we have a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had one more question. Do we have the total number of cases that we had, and if it wasn't this year in 2022 and 2021 for the need of?
I don't know if we track that particularly. I would say it's anywhere between 1 and 3 a year. They're
Oh,
very
okay.
rare.
All right, thank you so much.
Any other questions? I'm sorry, I don't want to overlook anyone.
Okay.
Let's call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nay?
Roll call vote.
Councilmember Flores,
Nay?
Councilmember Copeland,
Aye.
Councilmember Lamar Sylvia,
Yes.
Councilmember Williams,
Yes.
Councilmember Bench,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Balls,
Yes.
Councilmember Scherzer,
Yes.
Councilmember Ostache,
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We have 8 yes and 1 nay. Motion is approved. Mayor, that takes us to item number 4, is to approve the Community Development Block Grant COVID-19 additional subrecipient agreements and amendment agreements for fiscal year 2020 and 21 for $173,692. That was Councilmember Lamar Sylvia.
Thank you. I guess I got a couple of questions in regards to this particular item. One is that the items, is it to be COVID related? Is that that's the understanding? Because as I read these, I was looking at Saginaw, Shiawassee, Habitat for Humanity, and I was looking more at equipment for the company or agency, I'm sorry, and just wondering how that reflects back to COVID funding.
The rule says that it's to respond to, prevent, or prepare for COVID. So they have equipment, they could have computers so that when their clients come in to do their housing counseling classes, they have individual terminals that they attend. They could have furnace repair. We redid some conference rooms with chairs that are wipeable.
And my other question was how, in regards to, I mean, you guys get overwhelming amount of agencies that ask for funding. How were these particular ones, how did you all come up with those?
With the agencies that are going to be funded?
These 7 here, to get, these are 7 agencies that received additional funding?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was
Additional
wondering
funding,
how.
and we had a couple new agencies as well.
Right.
They went through the same process as the entitlement. So when we opened up the application window for CARES money was also open. And they submitted their applications. They went through the Human Planning Commission process, and then these were the recommendations.
Okay. Good to see some of these on here. Thank you very much.
I move to approve consent agenda number 4.
Second. Oh.
It's been moved in second. Any more discussion? Let's call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Item number 8 is approve the purchase with MD Solutions for $21,996 and Dorbo Sign and Safety for $11,099.45 and Vulcan Signs for $12,104.36 for a total of $45,199.81 for sign materials for the Public Services Department Traffic Division. That's Councilmember Lamar Sylvia.
And this is just for information. I see it's like 3 different, do they all handle different areas of signs? Why didn't we just use one? And this is more for explanation.
I'll ask Beth
Okay.
to address that question.
To answer your question, yes. Dornbos is predominantly providing the aluminum blanks. Vulcan is predominantly providing the vinyl faces, and MD Solution is predominantly providing the sign posts.
Can one of those agencies or companies do all of it, or you had to do it like that?
I don't think they all bid on all items. I will say that all 3 of them bid on some of the sign posts, which is a little unusual.
Okay, thank you very much. Move to.
Got a motion on the floor. I need a second.
Second.
It's been moved in second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we are now at Board, Commission, Committee reports.
Do we have any board or commission reports?
Oh, I do. As of last week, as of last week, I'm now a narrow housing commissioner for the city of Saginaw. So, and the great thing is that for our board, all of our board commissions are almost all narrow certified commissioners. And you may not know what that means, but when it comes down to the Housing Commission, we know that HUD oversees a lot of those programs, and so to be a certified narrow commissioner, you have to go through their trainings to make sure that the commissioners are, one, aware of what they're doing and their duties are, as well as a big portion is code of conduct and basically code of conduct. So right now, half of the board is narrow certified, and we're on our way for everyone to be narrow certified. But I was asked to make that announcement.
I have a question.
Yes.
How long does it take for you all to get certified?
Mayor, may I answer?
Yes.
Okay. So there are different trainings because Narrow only offers online trainings, and there were due to COVID, there were so many people trying to get in these trainings. It typically takes 2 trainings. So 1 3-day training for 5 hours where they go through our responsibilities as commissioners, as public commissioners as well as resident commissioners, and then we do another 2-day training regarding the code of ethics, and I'm forgetting the name right now, but basically, if I said it, you'll know what I mean. Making sure that we're not looking out for our friends. What am I thinking? What's the word?
Nepotism.
Conflict of interest. That's what I couldn't think of. So a conflict of interest, and they walk us through that. Once we complete those 2, the fundamentals for narrow commissioners as well as the conflict of interest, we are then considered narrow certified.
Thank you.
I want to report out on last week, our very own clerk, along with her assistant, did a workshop. And it was on, we skimmed or we touched, but we got a lot done. We talked about Robert Rules of Order, and we had boards and commissions from all of our boards and commissions, even from people on the Housing Commission. I'm encouraging everyone, if you can just go through these workshops, okay? They're free. They were not painful, not at all. As a matter of fact, they were fun. We interact, and we actually learned. I learned a lot more than what I thought. And so, Ms. Jan, Madam Clerk, and your assistant, kudos to you, for a job well done. Anyone else? Yes.
Just a quick update. I sit on the Planning Commission, and just want to give council an update on recently there was a resolution that we did pass for a Historic District Study Committee for the Potter Street Station. So that study was presented to the Planning Commission as an FYI. There's a process that they have to go through. So for those that are watching out there, it is moving through the process. They've been working with our city attorney and our clerk, so thank you. And more to come on that later.
Councilman Flores.
Thanks. For the Human Rights Commission, has there been any update with the Elliott Larson's, any amendment going through the state at all?
The bills are fairly well stagnant. However, the case that is currently before the Michigan Supreme Court is set for oral argument sometime on the March docket, according.
So this month?
This month. There's not a date certain on it, but it's supposed to go to oral argument.
All right, thank you so much.
Anyone else? Madam Clerk.
Mayor, we are now at appointment of board and commission members. We do have one this evening. It's the council reappointment of Quincy Hayes to the Board of Review with a term to expire December 31st of 2026.
I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed signify by saying nay.
We are now at ordinance introduction. Our first one is an ordinance to amend the official city map to rezone 2138 North Carolina from R1 single family residential to R3 low-density, multiple-family residential.
I need a motion to introduce.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved in support. Any discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? This ordinance will be laid over.
Our next ordinance is to amend the official city map to rezone 3617 Mackinac Street from R1 single-family residential to R2 two-family residential.
I need a motion to introduce.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved in support. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. This motion too will be laid over. Madam
Our
Clerk.
third one tonight is to amend the official city map to rezone the area between North Washington Avenue and Farwell from Roosevelt Austin to North 10th Street, from the current zoning to M1 light industrial.
I need a motion to introduce.
So moved.
Support.
It's been moved in support. Any discussion?
Yeah, what, before, this was the area that they had planned on being a green zone? That's right? All right.
It was the green zone, since everybody don't want to answer it. That's what it was called, the green zone.
Yeah. So there are two members of the planning commission on council, so they can
Why you throwing
probably
us under
address that. And we also are planning, our city planners here in case there are questions about these as well.
Well, I just asked a question. That was the green zone area, right? And now they want to turn into light industrial.
A portion of that.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
Mayor Moore, is it possible, I know this is going to be laid over if it is supported, but in our public comments, there was a discussion regarding looking at the urban venture. Has that, and maybe Mr. Golan, if, I have a question for Mr. Golan, has that been reviewed or suggested, or is there a particular reason why it's going as an industrial, knowing the history, instead of an urban venture opportunity?
So the urban venture zoning is not part of our zoning ordinance. That would have to be looked at and introduced as a new zone. It was something that was proposed as part of the master plan. We looked at this area because of the proximity to I-75 and the fact that it's Washington is a 4-lane, 5-lane entrance into the city. If you look at the area predominantly around it, it is industrial, and so it's just a 36-acre portion of the total northeast area.
And when we looked at, when it was brought to our attention, to the committee, when we talked about lightweight industrial stuff, we talked about what was there before, the white cleaners. We talked about stuff economically. We didn't talk about putting another Greyhound foundry because that'll never happen. We talked about making it an area and still including houses and steady building the area up. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so how can we be sure? Two questions. How can we be sure that that's not going to happen? Because once you put it in there, you can do a whole lot of things with it because it would have been voted on. Secondly, how does this affect the existing families in the area?
You waiting on me? It does not.
Oh, it does?
It does not. It does not. Anybody that knows me know that I've been fighting for this green zone thing since I got on council.
Right.
Okay? If you know me, there's no way in the world I put them in harm's way when I've been fighting for that area all this time. And the staff looking at me like, oh my gosh, she fit to rip us, but I'm not. It's not gonna put anybody at harm. Whoever comes in there with whatever they come in there with, the community always gives us an opportunity, just like the night that we did the decision. There was only 2 people in that area that came. And they came and they went home and they were happy because they were told that it was not going to be another gray iron foundry put up there, and that was not the intention. And they wanted to know one question: was that going to displace them? And the answer was no. You asked the question, how will we know it's going to be followed? Because we said it. And part of our job is to do what we say. So to me, if I said it, I'm going to protect it. If you say it, you're going to protect it. So it's going to happen. You know, we just want to build the area up because some of the area is polluted. Let's be honest. You know, over there on Washington, you grew up in Saginaw with me. Quit playing. You know there's some of that ground over there is polluted.
Will future homes
yes.
or apartments be?
You know what? If we can get somebody to build them, if we can get somebody to build, we can build whatever we want to build. We got money. Look, we got money.
So, and I would add that as part of the current master plan process, Bob and Spicer, who's working on that, and several other people did meet with people from that neighborhood and organizations, a number of them, and one of the topics I think that, I know Yolanda and Bob can expand upon this, but they did bring up a lot of similar area in EV Township that has been developed and brought jobs to that area as something that could potentially be part of this area as well. And I don't know if you have the information with you, Bob, also about who owns lots in that area, I think was presented to.
Yeah, so there are 133 parcels within that area. 103 are vacant. 69 are owned by the county land bank. There are 3 churches there and 12 residential parcels. And then there are 6 businesses within that. And just to add to, in terms of, I guess, protecting the area, because it's a change in use, because the current zoning is going to be a change, and those parcels are vacant, anyone who develops there will have to bring a site plan to the planning commission, and the planning commission would have to review it and look at it. Likewise, any areas that are adjacent to residential areas, the zoning ordinance has a screening portion in there that they have to screen from residential areas for light and noise and parking and things of that nature. So.
Okay, excuse me. How many lots did you say the land bank owned in that area?
69.
69. Okay, thank you very much.
Mayor Moore?
Any more questions for Mr. Bob?
Mayor, just 2 really quick.
Robert.
So what we're saying right now is, I don't know if you can answer publicly, do we have industries that are already looking at this property? And then 2, are we saying that with us making the motion to rezone this particular parcel, that in the upcoming months or year, when we're looking at the master plan, where we seen this green reserve opportunity area, that will technically be changed because the vision now is to remove the regulations that were put there that caused the generational harm or situations? Are we saying that now in the upcoming months we may see that being changed? If you can't say it right now, I understand, but because it's still being worked on.
I do not have anybody that I could discuss that's looking at that area, but what I can do is say that the master plan originally focused on the urban core. There are several businesses within the downtown area along the riverfront that potentially could be relocated in those areas. So that would be a perfect example of where we could keep a business here, retain those businesses, and then move them in a place that would be more appropriate for them. And then I would say, yes, we are looking at changing that northeast area, because there are a lot of different portions or factions within that we need to look at from a planning standpoint. That I don't think we should treat it all as a whole. There, you know, we can subdivide it into different areas for different types of developments.
And I just want to say thank you, Bob. Just from conversations I've had with you, I just want to say thank you. Although I'm asking these questions, I do want to publicly say you do answer the questions when asked, so I do appreciate that.
Any more questions?
All right, Mr. Goldman, sorry.
I had a few. Thank you, Chair. There was at least one public hearing in accordance with Ordinance 153.561 regarding this change.
Yes, there was a public hearing. Notices went out
15 days.
To those who own property in there, you know, or occupy the property, and then likewise within 300 feet of that area.
It was a postcard, correct, that went out to those
Yes.
individuals? And how many people?
And it's also published on MLive, and there's also in the clerk's office, there's a public notice.
And how many people came to the public hearing?
As the mayor said, there were two.
There are two individuals that came to the public hearing on 2/22?
On this subject, yes.
Okay. And then was there a report completed and furnished to the Saginaw City Council according to Section D?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Was there a report that was furnished to the Saginaw City Council in accordance with Section D? Or was that just the ordinance council communication?
We don't, Madam Clerk, help me correct this. We don't, when the planning commission does something, if it comes in front of us, we don't do a report back. So I guess I need some clarity on what you're asking.
It just says in Section D, the city planning commission shall make a final report to the Saginaw, or the city council.
We have hearings.
That's the council communication.
That was the ordinance 3. Yes. And that there was two individuals and their input was put into that report, correct?
And to the minutes, they didn't speak.
They didn't speak, yeah.
The two individuals that came to the public hearing did not speak?
Correct.
They did not speak.
Oh. Well,
and they were asked if they wanted to speak.
Oh.
And they did not speak.
And there's 12 individuals that are residents there that would hold legal residence there, even if we were to amend this.
Yes.
And then if they wanted to get additional land, they would have to go through the boarding or the zone commission, correct? I'm sorry, the board of appeals. If they were to, this was something that was brought up in that.
Yeah, so if they decided to change their home, expand it onto their property, they could go to the Board of Appeals and ask for a variance.
But we haven't heard from any residents in that location yet.
No.
Well, I would motion to postpone this until we hear from the residents regarding this matter.
There's a motion on the floor. There's a motion on the floor. There's a motion on the floor. And for the last time, there's a motion on the floor. We move forward. It's not tabled. I didn't get a second. Y'all know I'm lost now, right? I'm lost now.
We were on discussion of the original.
Okay. Now we're on discussion of the original motion.
And Mayor Moore, I do want to just say this. I appreciate when council members, we ask our questions, because even though we get this information, the public, the conversation is good for the public to hear. I would, just from the answers received, customer service goes a long way. And we talk about the community relationship and building between the city and the community. 12 homes, 12 knocks, I don't think would be a challenge for a community and a group of people who lived in this. And I only say this because that's an area where I campaign, and hearing the stories of families who lived in that area for 60 years and the challenges that they've had, I would possibly ask if we could. We had 2 come and they didn't share. But those other remaining 10 homes, just to stop by, because we think about the resources and the access that other people have. So we said it was in a postcard, we said it was online. If people do not have access to online, if those people who receive those postcards could not read, a knock on the door just would be a nice common courtesy. If possible, I would just encourage it, if possible. That's all I have.
There's a motion on the floor.
Excuse me, what is the motion?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
What is the motion?
To introduce.
I'm sorry, I'm just, because I kind of got.
You're still at your main motion now to introduce the ordinance.
To introduce it.
Does that help her?
You need some more clarification?
I'm just totally, I'm sorry, y'all go ahead, I'm just a little bit lost. Because it's the motion from Councilman,
Flores?
No. Copeland? Are we dealing with what he just said?
He didn't make a motion.
Okay, he didn't make a motion.
He didn't make a motion.
Okay, all right. So the one that Mr. Flores, Councilman Flores, that's
dead.
Okay. And so when I had questions in regards to these particular 2 things, where are we at?
We are on probably what you had questions about.
Okay.
Okay? We are on the 3rd ordinance.
Right, okay.
And it is, we were getting ready for the vote, but if we got questions, we need to answer some questions.
Okay. I'm good.
Okay? And this is just an introductory. Okay? This will be laid over. Okay? So,
Just
any
introduction.
questions?
Okay.
Councilwoman, councilperson? You got any
Introduction.
questions?
I'm good.
Okay. So now she good. We're gonna call for the vote. Madam Clerk, you want to call for, you want to tell me what the motion is again?
The motion is to amend the official city map to rezone the area between North Washington and Farwell from Roosevelt, Austin to North 10th Street from the current zoning of M1 light industrial.
Now, I need a
We are
motion.
introducing it.
We're just introducing.
Introduction.
Okay.
Please. Are these 3 still together or are they separate?
No, it's
Okay.
that one is separate.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Make a motion to introduce.
It's been made.
No,
It's
we've
been
already
made.
have the motion.
Right, and now I'm getting ready to call for the vote.
Right.
All right, let's call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
Nah.
Roll call vote, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Copeland.
Nay.
Councilmember Lamar Sylvia.
Nay.
Councilmember Williams. Councilmember Bench.
Yay.
I'm sorry, I can't tell a nay from a yay.
I'm sorry, yes.
So I need an aye.
Aye.
Or a nay, please.
Aye.
So I need to back it up. Copeland?
Nay.
Nay. Lamar Sylvia?
Nay.
Nay. Williams?
Aye.
Aye. I'm glad I did that, because I had you. Councilmember Bench?
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Balls?
Aye.
Councilmember Scherzer?
Aye.
Councilmember Ostash?
Aye.
Councilmember Flores?
Nay.
Mayor Moore?
Aye.
We have 6 yes and 3 nay. Motion is approved to introduce.
Madam Clerk,
Mayor, that ordinance also will be laid over.
that ordinance will also be laid over.
Thank you. And now we are at ordinance consideration and adoption. We have one tonight. It's an ordinance that will amend section 153.426, uses and parking standards of chapter 153, zoning regulations, title 15, land usage.
I need a motion to adopt.
So move.
Support.
It's been moved and support. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Madam Clerk.
We are at resolutions, Mayor. We have one tonight, and it's authorizing issuance of water supply system junior lien revenue bonds, Series 2022.
Need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and supported. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, nay.
Mayor, you're at miscellaneous business.
Do we have any other miscellaneous business that we need to discuss, young people? Are we saying, okay, so now I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
It's been moved and second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We are now dismissed.